What up guys, it is Justice here and welcome to a new video. That animation is awesome and yeah, raids are upon us. So in this video it is Yakamaru and I'm going to take you through a full kill and not just show you the kill, but in this time I'm going to actually talk you through pretty much everything that's going through my mind whilst I'm going through this. So it's essentially going to be a guide slash walkthrough of the entire kill. There's going to be a lot going on. It's going to be hard to conceptualize. There are a lot of mechanics. This is a mechanical boss over a DPS boss. Comparing this to Durzag, where you can just get a team of people, and if you've got a good team full of really solid DPSs and 2 solid tanks, pretty much you could literally wreck through Durzag. This is completely different. You can't just wreck through this fight. It's extremely mechanical. So I'm going to take you through all of the mechanics that I know so far, going into depth with certain ones and not going into full detail with others because I've got a lot to talk about. And just before heading into this video, a like would be much appreciated, just to share this with as many people as possible to give them a helping hand in their first attempts at Yakamaru. I will be taking through people through Yakamaru and I'll be suggesting them to watch this video before I do that so they have a really good idea before even getting into the fight. Now in terms of roles, a lot of teams are doing things differently, but as a whole you want at least 2 main tankers who will be tanking Yakamaru. They will be switching out depending on how your team wants to do it, whether it's halfway through the fight or halfway through each phase. That is completely dependent on the 2 tanks and how capable they are. You want at least 3 healers in your team, which will be using range and barricade and take and heal other runes. They can also take group venge, and the rest of your team will be purely DPSs, and they will obviously be able to fix out the other mechanics which are in the fight, which I'll talk you through later on. Now there are 5 different pools. One of the pools in the middle where it started off there, that's the one where it starts off in. You never want to use ultimate abilities. It keeps switching back there in between the phases as well. You want to save your ultimates. For example, right now when I sunshine at the start of each brand new phase, pretty much each pool has a special attack, which I'll show you on screen at some point. If you look at the minimap, the first pool, which is in right now, the southernmost pool, is the Tendrils, Bleeds, and Jellyfish and Poison pool, essentially the Tendril pool. Now, there's 2 different types of Tendril attacks that Yakamaru can inflict on the team, one of which just binds the entire team, just gives them small little bleeds of 400s, and you want to DPS onto Yakamaru to release your team of the bind. Whenever Yakamaru does a Tendril special attack within this, you'll see Yakamaru's face go down and stick on the tank, the main tanker. They need to walk around, otherwise they get constant 2k hits. Essentially the way you get out of the special attack is, like I said, DPS as a team and just take the hits. The second Tendril special attack that Yakamaru will inflict, he'll inflict 1 huge bleed onto 1 person. That'll hit 1k, then 2k, then 4,500, then 6,000. The whole team needs to DPS through it, otherwise that person will die. They won't be able to eat through it, so you need an entire team completely DPSing through that to get rid of that Tendril special attack on that one individual. Now, whilst all of this is going on, in each of the special pools, Yakamaru will keep releasing these jellyfish. Now, these jellyfish are that one there, which is just spawned. Now, you can either choose to go on the pools, on those black areas. If you sit on those black areas, you get a big hit, but then the jellyfish gets 10k hits upon it. Now, most teams will choose not to bother going onto those black areas, and I agree. All you need to do with that jellyfish is stun it, use your dip impacts, use your asphyxiates, and if you're ranging, just use all of your stun abilities as well. That will stop it from moving, because if it gets within proximity of people, it'll hit around 2k's consistently, and you'll be surprised a lot of people die from that jellyfish just due to a lack of concentration. Extremely annoying when people in your team do die from that. You've just got to keep your concentration levels high as a team. Shout out when that jellyfish spawns, get rid of it, always prioritize those jellyfishes. Now look at the LP bar of Yakamaru carefully now. It's about to hit 100k. As soon as it hits 100k in every special pool, it will release that poison there. You'll see like a detonation symbol on the ground. Now that symbol, 1 person needs to stand within the middle of that as the poison lands in it. They will have poison then inflicted upon them. They need to go within melee distance of Yakamaru with the main tank. Then everybody DPSs Yakamaru down. It takes Yakamaru out. At that point, Yakamaru will spawn green within the middle base pool once again. That way you know you've completed that phase correctly. Now the person who did get the poison and goes within melee distance of Yakamaru, they will get spawned at the beach area. As you can see there, 2 people were just helping, or 1 person was helping the person who was poisoned, because they get automatically spawned at the beach area and get put into the ground. Now if 1 person doesn't go there to free and rescue that person, by all you need to do is click him once, you'll start going into a rescue animation. If no one rescues that person, they will start to inflict a bleed upon them. They will die, so be careful of that. Make sure you go to the person who was poisoned, 1 person dedicated to rescue that person. Now within the phases of the special pools, All you need to do is just tag all of the jellyfish around the area, kill all the jellyfish. Eventually, after DPSing another 200k life points off Yakamaru within the base pool, it will spawn over to its next special pool. Another thing to note, it is completely random which special pool it goes to, but as long as you complete each special pool eventually, you will then move on to the mirage phase, which is the last phase. Now I'm going to go into this next special pool, which is the Sharknado pool. Oh, and I'm going to take a breath because this is a lot to talk about. Okay, now, so it's absolutely important to sunshine, use your ultimate abilities right at the beginning of each special phase, unless of course you're having to run around trying to kill the jellyfish still. So at the beginning, use your sunshine to get as much DPS out as possible. Now, you'll notice when the special is about to come, which is the Sharknado, where it releases loads of sharks, a tornado-like animation will form on Yakamaru. That way you know it's about to spawn. Then Yakamaru will unleash all of the sharks, move away, as either surge out or just run away. If you run away or surge too early, the sharks will follow you, and if you don't move out at all, if you're within where all those sharks are, they will KO you completely, so be careful. Basically just wait until you see them, jump out of Yakamaru's body, wait a second or two, then run away. Now whilst all of this is going on, you've got at least 3 healers who are coordinating with each other. They will, in my teams, I'll get them to shout their name out and say healing, so then everybody knows right they're about to heal. That way you can coordinate heals extremely effectively. You want heals being consistently going out throughout this kill. As you will see, I'm not really eating that much. That's because the heals are absolutely fantastic within this team at the moment, and they really do make the difference, especially for the tankers who are having to eat a lot of food. And that phase is over. Now, one thing to note is some special pools you'll want to wait off on the DPS until there's another special attack. For example, at 100k, when Yakamaru hits 100k life points on every single special pool, it will release poison. The only way to complete that phase is for one person to get that poison. Like I said in the first pool, it's the same with every pool, is one person to get that poison, go within melee distance, and their team to take it out. Now, if he spawns sharks and there's poison at the same time as he spawns sharks, everybody's running away, aren't they, to get rid of the sharks. So that way you have a lower chance of being able to capture that poison, MD, and then DPS the boss down. So it's all about coordinators as a team. For example, let's say it's 150k life points, you know a special's about to come. Just one person coordinate and say, hold off guys, hold off the DPS for a moment, wait until the special attack comes, then go back, DPS it down to 100k life points, the poison will spawn then, one person gets the poison, goes MD, as you can see here, and then DPS the boss down. It's all about coordinating, making sure you're getting that poison at the right time, not getting the poison whilst there's a special active, otherwise it can really mess you over. Now, what happens if you don't manage to get the poison with an MD and DPS it down? Basically, you have to start the entire phase again. Yakamaru will go back to this pool here, but it will not be green. Instead, Yakamaru will be blue like normal. That way, you know you've done that phase wrong. You need to redo that entire phase, which can be extremely detrimental to the team. Again, in between the special phases here, as you can see, the whole team spreads out, gathers all the jellies. Don't hit the white jelly because that's a reflect jelly. The damage will be reflected upon the team. Prioritize the melee jellies, which are those ones which Yakamaru spawns throughout the entire fight. The one which you can see over there near the beach side. Those hit constant 2Ks. I will keep reminding you of those guys because they can be deadly. Once all the jellies are over, DPS Yakamaru right down within the base pool again. Another 200k LP, he will spawn back into the brand new special pool. Now again, whilst all of this is going on, healers should only be healing whilst the special pool is active. Now this is the next special pool, this is the sand pool. Now what you'll notice is people in the team will get buried into the sand, and then there'll at least be 1 or 2 people who are not buried. Those 2 people, it's their responsibility to go round picking their players, their teammates up out of the ground. Now, what you'll notice is us running south here, then running back. We actually have figured out a way within this team to not even get buried into the sand. Now, a couple of people didn't move out there, but you can either count the auto attacks of Yakamaru, or you just get an instinct of when it's about to happen. A bit like Virago with Reflex, you just get that instinct. If you don't know the correct amount of auto attacks, you can move south and then move back north, and the whole team will not be buried in the sand. Also, the main tank doesn't get buried in the sand either, which can be very, very annoying as a team, because if that main tank gets buried within the sand, that means a couple of people are going to have to try and rescue him and get hit pretty damn big. So as you see, our whole team moves south, then moves north again in the required time. Nobody gets buried in the sand, makes this phase extremely easy, really speeds it up. Now as you can see, we're getting our ultimates out again as a team. making sure we're prioritizing those ultimates as frequently as possible within here. But the couple of healers are not prioritizing their ultimates. Instead, they are prioritizing their barricades and heal other. Another ability from Yakamaru that is consistent across all special phases is the blue bleed. As you can see, my character goes blue. That means I've got the bleed on me. I need to go within MD next to somebody else to pass on that bleed to them. Otherwise, you get damaged, and this increases over time. This needs to be passed on 3 to 4 times. As you can see, when the jellyfishes spawn, I click on it straight away. The whole team prioritizes that jellyfish, or at least half of the team. Stun it with deep impact. I always try and use a fixate on it as well, just to try and get it down as quick as possible. Otherwise, it can just kill people who are not paying attention with those constant 2Ks, and it's just a waste of food, completely pointless. So get those jellyfish out of the way. Now, as you can see, I think this is the part when we hold off on the DPS, I think, or we keep DPSing through to 100k. Pretty certain we have to run south again here. Nope, we DPS through it until the poison is released. So as you can see, little green squares on the bottom, on the floor, on the ground there, like a detonation impact when detonation reaches its peak to when to release. It's the same animation. That person got the poison, goes with an MD of Yakamaru, the whole team DPSs it down. Again, you know when you completed that phase correctly, because Yakamaru spawns back in his base pool as a green Yakamaru. That way he is poisoned, you know you've completed that phase. Everybody gets onto the jellyfish. It's extremely important that every single person on that team spreads out as fast as possible, tags all of the jellyfish. If all the jellyfish are not tagged, Yakamaru sometimes will reset its phase, so that is extremely important. All of those jellyfish need to be tagged as soon as possible, then prioritize the ones that hit you 2k, those melee ones. The last and final phase is the stun enrage phase. Now within this phase, it is absolute paramount importance that nobody in your team stuns Yakamaru. There will be one person who is dedicated to stunning Yakamaru, and they will stun Yakamaru with a basic stun. At that point, the entire team will DPS. Now, what you'll notice within this phase, essentially, you start off the phase hitting extremely well, but then as time goes on, the hits from your team reduce in significance. The damage output reduces essentially due to Yakamaru's enrage increasing. Now, that is just part of the mechanics of the phase. As soon as the person who's dedicated to stun Yakamaru, as soon as they see the hits be extremely low, they will stun Yakamaru, and as you saw there, a little message pops up saying bad luck has stunned Yakamaru. That is the person who is dedicated to stunning Yakamaru at that point. We will all usually get hit around a 1k. At that point, when you get hit at 1k, you know it's been stunned by that dedicated stunner. Then you unleash your thresholds, and it's extremely fun. This boss is absolutely beautiful in terms of the mechanics. Like when that happens, everyone's just like unleash the thresholds, and everybody just unleashes their wild magics and their fire breaths and their tendrils. Do not use a fixate. I repeat, if you're mage DPSing, do not use a fixate. It has happened before when learning this boss, and the entire team gets completely taken out. So as you saw there, as soon as he stunned, you saw all those wild magics just like get cascaded out by the team. That is extreme DPSing skills right there, essentially. Extreme DPSing skills, but you know what I mean. As soon as it gets stunned by one person within your team, everybody wild magics. It's a fantastic sight because those wild magics hit hugely, like 8 to 10Ks. It's fantastic fun. And you'll notice Yakamaru's health just goes right down. Now at this point, we're all holding off for a little bit. Now we're waiting for the dedicated stunner to stun. There we go, he's stunned. We hold off on the DPS whilst that person takes the poison within the detonation symbol, otherwise we'll take Yakamaru down too early. As you saw there, one player called Fallen Angel managed to get the poison, and then we'll go MD. Going in within melee distance, then we literally wild magicked it. That was like on the tick there. We almost failed that phase because one person wild magic just a little bit too early. I'm not going to name who, but the wild magic just a little bit too early. But luckily Fallen Angel was quick to the ball there, quick to get within melee distance of Yakamaru, and we saved the kill there luckily. So well done to Fallen Angel there for quickly getting within melee distance of Yakamaru. Managed to get that kill down, which was fantastic. Now we're just right before the mirage phase. This is when it gets interesting. So as you can see, Yakamaru has gone back to the base pool and is green again. That means you've completed that phase correctly because Yakamaru is now currently poisoned. Remember, again, I'm going to keep reminding you guys that the person who is poisoned will get automatically spawned to the beach area where the planks are. One person needs to go and rescue that person. Also, one thing to note, throughout this entire kill, planks are spawned at the beach. You need at least 2 to 3 people dedicated to picking up all of those planks on the beach. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete the mirage phase. By the way, I like to add in loads of different notes. You can use weapon poison within these battles. All DPSs should be praying range, and the main tankers within melee distance should be praying magic, especially if you're the person who's holding that poison. You should go within MD and pray magic. Again, another reminder, throughout the phase, healers should be healing. However, in mirage phase, everybody should be DPSing. Ignore the poison in the mirage phase. Now the LP bar at the top of the screen will always stay at 49k until you're at the very last pool. Forget about that, just look at the life points of the actual boss itself, the LP bar within the game, not the one at the top. At this point there will be one tanker up north, making sure that all the Yakamaru are still active in play. Otherwise, if there's no one up north, everybody gets a tie plus bleed of 2k. Advice to the tanker up north, there's lots of jellyfish that spawn. You want to get all those melee jellyfish onto you, keep running from west to east with those jellyfish on you so they're not hitting your constant 2ks. Build up your adrenaline on the jellyfish, use barricade, devotion, and resonance as often as possible, and reflect. If you are the tanker up north, prioritize range prey from the Yakamaru hits. Now all DPSs start south. As you saw there, as a team we DPS the southern Yakamaru first. As soon as you DPS that southern Yakamaru down to 0 life points as a whole team, you need to spam click the pool in order to fill it up with sand at the beginning. Now that's where the bucket of sand prank came from on the first day of release. Quite funny there, but if people should have planks, as a DPSer you get it down. As you see here, this is the Sharknado pool. All of these Yakamarus will still do the special attacks. All go within MD quickly, spam click the pool, and you need at least 6 people or so to keep spam clicking that pool in order to cover it up with planks in the second pool. It then moves on, then we move on as a team to the third pool, completely as DPSers, getting out metas, preferably metas because you want the increased damage output as soon as possible. You should be able to get the third Yakamaru down really quickly within the sand pool. As soon as you get it down to 0 life points again, as a team you want to get within MD and fill up that pool as quick as possible. Whilst all this is going on, you still want to, let's say, get group venge out, which will keep helping you with that extra DPS. As you see here, life points are 0, spam clicking the pool, and we fill it up just about again with a bucket of sand. Now it's quite interesting what happens here on the last pool, because we actually in fact spam click it and we fill it up at the same game tick as Yakamaru is about to come back up out of the pool. So it kind of glitches out a little bit here. As you can see, we're spam clicking it, but then we don't get it just in time, and instead Yakamaru sort of like spawns itself up. And I don't know what's going on here. It seems like a bit of a glitch. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to happen. But anyway, we spam clicked the pool and Yakamaru popped its head back up, so we keep DPSing Yakamaru down. As soon as Yakamaru gets to 0 life points, he will spawn back in his base pool, and then all you have to do then as a team is take a bit of a breath and just DPS the last 50k life points down, which you can do literally in 1 wild magic each, and that is the kill complete. As you can see, all those melee jellyfish up north there, that main tanker is literally just running back into, running away for his life away from those melee jellyfish, because like 6 of them on him. If all 6 of those hit him once, that is like, I don't know, like a 12k hit, so you've got to be so careful there. But yeah, as you can see, taking Yakamaru down, my first kill completed at Yakamaru. It is pretty insane. Like, the mechanics are beautiful. Like, I honestly just admire this boss, and the way you have to do it as a team is fantastic. I hope this helps you get your first Yakamaru kills down and help you get those completionist cates back, for example, or just help you get into a team and survive long enough in order to stay with that team. Now, one thing I am really adamant about and really strongly believe in with bosses like this, it takes a strong mindset. It takes a team who all appreciate and respect each other in order to get through the fight. You know, no rage quitters, for example. That is extremely important. Like, and that's why I do have a huge respect for the team which I was in here, the Nexicans permanent team, who really do have all of those qualities really nailed down. You know, they all respect each other. They all have their dedicated roles. Once they got that first kill out of the way after loads of hours of trying and persevering, they're now getting consistent kills after that. Yes, even this team will fail back to back occasionally, but that's just due to a lack of concentration. You're not going to be able to just go in there and complete this boss within an hour within the same team. You're going to have to persevere with each other, take regular breaks, and then come back to it at a later date or after like a 10-minute break. Make sure you're all composed together, make sure you're on point, and you will get that kill. Good luck to everybody who is persevering through Yakamaru with your same teams. Like, honestly, a massive respect to those people who are persevering through it together, and good luck to you all, and I hope you get that kill soon. And yeah, once you get that first kill out of the way, your confidence increases, you've got that initial experience, and then you can keep going in, and usually after your first kill you've got a huge confidence boost and the kills start rolling after that. That's what it was like for me anyway with Durzag as well on the first day of release, where it took a good amount of hours to get that first Durzag kill, and now we're getting consistent 5 to 6 minute Durzag kills. Now again, I'm thinking of loads of different extra tips whilst I'm making this video. For example, if you're DPSing, you want to be using Devotion and Debilitate as often as possible. Just keep rotating those 2 defensive abilities. It reduces your damage so much as a DPSer, and that way I didn't have to use loads of food throughout the kill. Obviously towards the Mirage phase, I just ate for the sake of eating to make sure I was saving up for my very first kill. But as you get used to the kill, you don't need to be eating absolutely loads as a DPSer as long as you get lucky without the jellyfish. Keep rotating your devotions and your debilitates and you should be okay. Make sure that you've got an enhanced Excalibur, for example, and use that every 5 minutes because that'll heal you 4,400 life points over that time whilst you can use it. And just make sure that healers within your team are consistently healing. One thing to note out, if a healer does get buried and uses barricade to try and heal the team, that barricade gets cancelled. 2 great items to wear now, of course, is the Amulet of Souls and Ring of Death. Mostly the Amulet of Souls there because it increases the amount of damage that's deflected upon the boss, and throughout the entire fight, as a team, you are consistently range praying or magic praying, so it really helps to wear an Amulet of Souls. It also decreases the amount of damage that you take now as well through that deflected prayer, which is fantastic. As a DPSer, you can wear tier 90 armor, you do not need to wear tanking armor, but of course if you are a main tanker, it's preferably to use range gear due to you getting hit constant magic hits, or wear range gear such as Superior Death Lotus but with a melee weapon. Therefore you're consistently staying within melee distance. If you're struggling as a main tank, it's quite nice to be able to have a dry gore weapon because you're constantly with an MD and you don't accidentally move out of melee distance, because if you do, the rest of your team is going to get hit loads. Also, it's preferable to keep Yakamaru's face away from the DPSs, that way the DPSs don't get hit as much as well, from my experience. So, just to conceptualize this video in terms of the roles within your team that you want to have, you want 2 main tanks who are praying magic and can alternate depending on when they want to throughout the kill. 1 northern tank for when the Mirage phase starts. You want at least 3 healers within your team who are using a range setup, for example, for range DPS, but also to heal other group heal and also group vengeance. Then the rest of your team, you want mage DPSing preferably, but they can also range DPS because extra heals, why not? But magic DPS seems to be the better option again, like Virago, for example, where magic DPS is extremely prominent. Overall, on the Tendril special ability pool, you want as many people DPSing that pool down as quick as possible, otherwise one person can get wrecked with that bleed. And yeah, if you are mage DPSing, take debuff runes, so vulnerability. So yeah, that is pretty much the mechanics that I know so far with Yakamaru, and I'll be recommending people who are going to go in my team to watch this video in order to have a good understanding before even going in there. Now there'll be loads of stuff that obviously I haven't gone into depth with still in order to get smoother kills or maybe individual roles specifically, but that sort of stuff will come later on. This video is to give you guys the basis, the basic mechanics that you need to know in order to get through a Yakamaru fight. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you got something out of this. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. It's really much appreciated. I'll see you all in the next video or live stream. Good luck, happy raiding, and I hope you get that Yakamaru kill soon if you haven't already. Take care.